You know what I realized over the past week or so is that being a Lakers fan makes you realize how low the bar is for almost every other team in the NBA. There is no team with a microscope on it like the Lakers. There is no team that gets criticized like the Lakers. But because the Lakers get so much hate, and listen, I'm a Lakers fan, justifiably so, right? They've been playing pretty inconsistent, pretty terrible in certain stretches over the course of the season. Well deserved criticism in my book. But the lack of accountability that fans show for all the other teams playing like crap in the league is starting to blow me. So, with that being said, let's give let's give some credit. Let's give some attention to some of these other teams who beginning of the season, we're supposed to be ranked pretty highly. They're not playing to their capabilities. They haven't shown up. Let's highlight some of these teams so that we can be on a level playing field. Because let me tell you something, the Lakers are 24 and 14 as of today. They they are 24 and 14 while being the fifth seed in the West, and that is after losing three games in a row before they beat Atlanta last night. That is going 5-5 in their last 10, and they're still a top 5 seed in the NBA, only 3 games back from being a top 3 seed. So, let's give credit to some of these other teams in the NBA. Let's highlight some of these other teams in the NBA who are playing like crap so I can stop hearing all the Lakers think pieces from people who aren't even real Lakers fans. Okay, can we do that? Let me do that. So, for starters, got to start with the Houston Rockets because right now, currently, they are sitting one game below the Lakers. Over the past, let's say, month and a half, since starting in December, they have lost to Sacramento twice, they have lost to Utah, they have lost to Charlotte, I believe. They lost to the Clippers, I believe. Granted, Kawhi was playing out of his mind. But still, that is 5, 6 of the bottom of the barrel teams in the NBA that the Rockets have lost to in the past 5 to 6 weeks. Let's highlight the Rockets a little bit more because the Rockets going into this season, by a lot of people's opinion, were a top 3 seed in the NBA. Definitely not playing like it. Right now, 37-year-old Kevin Durant, who's been playing incredible, playing high efficient offensive basketball, is the best player on that team with a team who has an all-star in Alperen Sengun, who has guys like Alman Thompson, right? Guys who should be stepping up and carrying more of the load, and they're just not, right? And they're not playing very good basketball. So let's highlight the Rockets, right? Because the Lakers are getting a whole lot of hate, and I want to spread the love, right? I want to spread the hate out a little bit more, so these other teams start getting attention. So let's turn our eye to them. Now, moving on from the Rockets, where did people have the Clippers at the beginning of the season? Right? Definitely not out of the playoffs, which they're out of the playoffs right now. Now, granted, Kawhi's been playing great recently. I want to give a hat off to Kawhi because I love Kawhi, right? One of my favorite players, one of the best two-way players of this past, 10, 12 years that, he's been playing at a high level. But the Clippers, right, started the season absolutely terribly. They've picked it up recently. But with that being said, still, they're sitting at number 11, currently 1 game out of the play-in, 2 games out of the play-in, excuse me. Let's highlight the Clippers a little bit, right? Let's talk about how shitty that they have been. Even though they've been playing good recently, right? They're still fighting for a play-in spot, right? Lakers, essentially have better than opposite their record. The Clippers are 16 and 23, the Lakers are 24 and 14. How does that speak to you guys? Let's give them some shine. You know what I'm saying? Let's move on to the Golden State Warriors. Made the Jimmy Butler trade last year at the deadline. Had a tremendous end of the season. A lot of people were picking them to beat the Rockets if Steph Curry doesn't go down with that hamstring injury, I think that it was. Show up this season, right? Playing 500 basketball for most of the season. I think they're 20 and 19 right now. 22 and 19 right now. They've picked it up recently. They've been playing a little bit better basketball, right? But definitely haven't played as good as the Lakers, right? Not by any stretch of the imagination. Definitely haven't played as good as the Lakers, and the record shows that, right? They've had just as many duds, just as many games where they've lost to bad teams as the rest of the teams I mentioned. You know what I'm saying? They haven't shown up. They've been playing inconsistent. They've had guys in and out of the lineup, right? So let's give them some credit because they're one of the premium franchises in the NBA now, right? I think they're the most expensive franchise in the NBA the last time I checked, or something along those lines, right? They went from since Steph Curry got there to where they're at now, et cetera, right? Like they're the one of the faces of the NBA, and they can't get the job done. Let's give the Warriors some credit for playing bad basketball to their expectations, right? Playing underwhelming basketball to what has been expected of them going into the season, over the last decade, right? Let's turn an eye to them because they're sure as heck not getting as much highlight as the Lakers are, and they deserve it, right? They deserve it because they're not playing as good a basketball as the Lakers are, as evidenced by their records. Now, let's move on because there's a few other teams, right? I want to get to the Miami Heat, right? They started out the season blazing. They were playing really good. They had a new system in place. They were playing some unique basketball. Teams figured them out. Before yesterday, where Bam went nuts, and he scored the ball really well, Bam was playing absolute terrible. First and foremost, let's highlight Bam because Bam hasn't made any progression in the past like 4 or 5 years. He's been the same player, and we keep saying Bam should be their guy. He should be their offensive engine. He should, be averaging 20 to 25 points. And he was averaging 23 like the first 15 games of the season, and then all of a sudden that just regresses and regresses and regresses. And then he had games where he was scoring in single figures. Where's the Bam hate at? Like there is for the Luka hate. Bam is a good athlete, right? Bam does have a lot of tools that he does not um, utilize, even though he's seen as one of the top 30 players in the NBA, right? I mean, sure, Luka's top five, whatever, what have you, what have you. But let's show Bam some love. Let's start getting on him a little bit more because maybe that'll help him play better, right? All the hate that I see Luka getting, let's turn some eyes to some of these other players, right? And that goes for the franchise more as a whole as well. What I'm saying? The Miami Heat playing 500 basketball, barely over 500. Uh, you know, let's turn let's focus on that. Let's talk more about that. Let's highlight that, right? And even more so, I'd say let's criticize more the Cleveland Cavaliers, a team that won 63, 65 games last season, barely 500 this season. What happened? What are you guys doing over there? Oh, because it's Cleveland, we don't care. No, I want you guys to get the same amount of hate that the Lakers get, right? And I'm not saying the Lakers hate isn't warranted. I'm not saying that the Lakers criticism isn't warranted, but let's spread the love. There's a lot of think pieces we could write. Let's talk about Evan Mobley not progressing at all. Let's talk about Darius Garland being in and out of the lineup. Let's talk about all this stuff, right? It's all interesting. It's all hoops, right? It's all going to have implications on ultimately who the NBA championship 2026 is going to be. So let's talk about it all, right? I think a lot of people picked Cleveland to be the best team in the East this season, coming back healthy, right? Had another year to gel together, another year to figure things out. I thought they were going to come back guns blazing, mad about getting knocked out by the Pacers last season in the manner that they did. Nope. Nope. 22 and 19, like seventh in the West, or seventh in the East, excuse me. I don't know. Orlando's another one, right? Paulo, where's the progression? I know you're young, right? I know you got a chance you got a lot of opportunity to still figure things out. And Paulo's one of my favorite players, in the NBA. I love his game, but still, we got to be honest, right? Everybody else is the Lakers are getting criticized. LeBron at 41 is getting criticized. Austin Reeves hasn't been in the lineup for a month. They have not played with a healthy roster, I don't think, once this season, right? It's either been LeBron out, then AR goes down, Rui's out, Aiton's in out of the lineup. Luka missed some games early on, right? Like you got guys plugging and playing. They have not had a consistent roster once this season, right? I want to balance the criticism. I want to spread the hate. Let's get everybody talking about all these teams who are underperforming, playing underwhelming basketball, just like the Lakers have been recently, right? Let's spread the love. And I won't make excuses for the Lakers if you won't make excuses for some of these other teams. But there are a lot of teams who had a lot of expectations going into the NBA season who are not living up to those expectations. And all the teams that I just mentioned who could be top 4 or 5 seeds in their conference respectively are worse than the Lakers. So let's just think through that really quickly. And if the Lakers were in the East, might I add, they'd be the 3 seed. So let's think through things really quick. The Lakers are still figuring things out. They have not been healthy at all this season. I hate the bad losses just as much as you do, but there are just as many teams who have played piss poor basketball as the Lakers. We have enough content to spread the love. So let's spread it. Peace.